How long can you survive when the world around you has gone hopping mad? We're taking a quick peek out of Carrots and Blood. The Steam version of Carrots and Blood is a simple game that, despite its simplicity, is actually the more complicated version of the project. In 2014, Trite Games created the original of Carrots and Blood for a Ludum Dare game jam. Trite had 72 hours to make a game based off of the theme, entire game one screen. I made one too! It kinda sucked. The game they came up with was a simple top-down shooter where you play as a rabbit defending a giant carrot from evil mutant things. It was a survive-till-you-die sort of game, with power-ups and items to help keep you alive for longer. The project was a good proof of concept, and I'm glad to see that Trite expanded on the idea into a full game, but they really didn't expand on it all that much. The version that's available on Steam has all new artwork and music to recreate Trite's previous project as best they can. The basic gameplay has stayed exactly the same, only sometimes changing with new power-ups, and that's a problem. Of Carrots and Blood is broken up into multiple game modes, and there's only one that you can play on your own, and it's the exact same endless survival high score thing you got out of the prototype. Same area, same enemies, same task. Granted, there are a couple of new power-ups to collect as you slay your way through hordes of mutated monstrosities, but I found it getting tiring very quickly, even with the online high-score leaderboard. Of Carrots and Blood uses the same kind of ideas that Devil Daggers did, putting players in a small area and asking them to use their skills to stay alive as long as possible. But Of Carrots and Blood's mechanics are much more limited compared to Devil Daggers, since it's a top-down shooter instead of a first-person shooter. You can only do two things: move and shoot. The only thing that kind of changes up the formula are the game's power-ups, but there aren't really that many of them, and they don't change up how you play all that much. Co-op is really where what little bit of meat on the bone there is in this game. In co-op, you can access a wave-based campaign mode as well as PvP game modes to play against your friends. The game supports up to 4 players, both offline and online. That is, if you can get the online capabilities to actually work. Of Carrots and Blood uses a direct IP system with port forwarding for its networking, and no matter how much I tried, I could not get the dang thing to work for the life of me. I ended up having to use a program called Hamachi to finally connect online. Once connected, things ran rather smoothly, but it's ridiculous that I had to use third-party software just to get playing online, when online functionality is one of the big selling points of the new version of the game. So if you intend on playing this game multiplayer and don't want to mess around with outside software, I suggest making sure that you can do couch co-op. Of Carrots and Blood does have somewhat of a strategy to it, as you're not only trying to keep yourself alive, but also a giant carrot that's in the center of the screen. Enemies will go after you if you get too close to them, but for the most part, they'll try to kill the carrot. Unlike you, the carrot doesn't die in one hit, but it can go down rather quick if you aren't paying attention. One of the stranger ideas in Of Carrots and Blood is that you can damage the carrot with your own shots. The first thing that I thought when I saw it, and saw that I could shoot it, and saw that shooting it was taking down a life percentage that's in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, was that I was supposed to kill it, but apparently, you're not. What makes this annoying is that some of the power-ups in the game make it almost impossible to not accidentally hit the thing at some point, but I do like how it makes you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Playing in co-op is even more chaotic because of this, since everyone can damage the carrot if they aren't careful enough. But there are a few mechanics that can help you stay alive a little bit longer. In between rounds, you can head to the game's shop to unlock new power-ups, items, and even music with the brain matter you collected from the skulls of your victims. Unfortunately, the shop doesn't have direct IP support and only works while you're in single-player mode. So if you're playing online co-op, you have to disconnect and start up the single-player mode to access it. It's not ideal. Before jumping into the fight, you can equip 2 different items, such as a ring, or boots, or glasses that change the vision you have on the screen. Why are these in the game? They don't do anything. Outside of the glasses, all of the other items will aid you in your quest. While playing co-op, players can kiss each other, by having their characters run into each other. This is mostly reused for reviving teammates as well as being extremely annoying when it happens and you don't want it to. All that makes it happen is the characters running into each other. There's no button to press or anything, and it happens all of the time by accident, meaning that you're stuck there for a few seconds and you're probably going to die because you can't shoot, you can't move, you can't do squat. There is, however, a very useful ring item that will heal the carrot every time players kiss, which is nice to see. Even with that item equipped, as well as having one that makes the carrot do some attacks of its own, I still found the co-op campaign rather difficult, and that's a good thing. It seems to be fairly short, and every time you lose, you have to start over from the beginning, so having a good amount of difficulty really makes players have to pay attention, use a bit of strategy with their items and power-ups, as well as giving them a bit more playtime. There are a few PvP game modes, but they don't really do anything super fantastic. The most interesting one is one where players are put on the opposite sides of a minefield and must step on a mine on their side that will then explode the exact same mine, the exact same position on the opposite side, and trying to trick the other players to walking within range of the explosions. It's actually kind of fun, but there's not much depth to it, just like there's not much depth to all of the PvP modes. I could see them working well in a Mario Party style game, but there's nothing like that at all, and there's only 3 of them. Plus, the only way to change game mode is to disconnect and then reconnect, which is always fun. The only other thing to do in Of Carrots and Blood is unlock characters. While slaughtering the limited amount of enemies available in this game, seriously, there's like maybe 5 if you can live long enough to see them, you'll find that they sometimes drop DNA. This DNA can then be taken to a laboratory and used to unlock new characters to play as. It's mostly pointless since every character seems to play the exact same way, they just have a different look to them and throw a different object. There's no stat changes or anything, they're literally just alternate skins. The problem with this is how you unlock the characters. First, you have to find DNA, then you have to go to the laboratory, then you have to give the professor the DNA and a sizable amount of brain matter so he'll fuse them together to make the new character. Then you have to wait for the fusion to finish before returning to the laboratory and picking up your new randomly unlocked character. It's needlessly complicated for something that is completely unnecessary. Just let me buy the new skins from the shop! Or trade DNA in for them at the shop! 1 or 2 clicks and boom! New character! Good to go! All this runaround is completely pointless! Of Carrots and Blood does have some mysteries to uncover, as there are a few areas that seem to have no purpose. On the map, you can go to a wrecked pirate ship, but there aren't any levels to enter or anything to do there. There's also a dark cave with a maze in it, but you don't get anything for getting through the maze. I don't know if you have to unlock something or do something specific, but I wasn't able to figure it out. On Steam, Of Carrots and Blood is being sold for $7.99. Even though that's cheap, it doesn't really live up to the price for me. The basic mechanics can be fun, but there's a complete lack of variety and a huge lack of content that hardly make it a step above its prototype, which you can download and play for free. There's only one arena in the whole game, and it plays the same every single time. Trite did put a big effort into polishing the game, as well as doing a great job with both art and sound. They even added a lot of additional options, such as turning friendly fire on and off, even though I don't know why you would ever do that, because that would be nuts playing with 4 players. You can also turn on a day-night cycle, even though that doesn't actually affect anything more than just aesthetics. Of Carrots and Blood is a good start for a game, and it would have made sense for the project at this point in its development to have been released into early access. Instead, Trite released it as a full product, and I just don't feel like it was ready for that. Thanks for watching, please let me know what you think about the game or this video in the comment section. I've been MegapieMan, I'll talk to you guys later. Holding the fire button will create a glistening stream of shrapnel for as long as it's pressed. The daggers have an infinite amount of ammunition without any kind of cooldown meter or anything like that, so they'll keep shooting until you let go of the trigger. You've also got a secondary